Today we're still looking at lines tangent to a circle, but now we're going to look at it in a different way. So they're going to tell us that the line is already tangent to a circle, and we're going to have to find the missing side of the right triangle that they show us. So, for example, all right, so they're going to give us, and hopefully I can do this, they're going to give us a circle. All right. So they give us a circle, and they already tell us that this line right here is going to be tangent to the circle. All right, so it touches right there once. We've got an end to it right there. They're telling us that it is tangent. And remember, a line that's tangent to a circle means that the tangent line and this line, which is better known as the radius, create a right angle. So they're already telling us that this is tangent, so this is a right angle. What they're going to do is finish off this picture and connect the radius to the end of this triangle. And they're going to give us some side lengths. They'll tell us that this is 16, this here is 12, and we are tasked with finding that distance there. Now, the key term here is that they've told us that this already is tangent, which means it is a right triangle. So if you ignore the circle and everything else, what you created here is a right triangle. And if I have two sides of a right triangle and I'm missing the third, remember, we still just use Pythagorean's theorem in order to find out that missing side. All right, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So last time we didn't know if it was a 90-degree angle yet, and we were trying to find out that equal sign. Today we know it is a right triangle, so I know that this has to be equal. So let's go ahead and plug them in. C is the most important side. C is always the hypotenuse. So in this case, C is x, what we're trying to find. A and B really doesn't matter which one you label which, so I'll go like that. So that tells me 12 squared plus 16 squared equals x squared. So just continuing the math on our calculators, that's 144 plus 256 equals x squared. Adding those together, that should come out to 400 equals x squared. Now x is not all by itself yet, we need to square root it, and the square root of 400 is 20. So the missing side here is 20, and that looks good because that is the longest side of the three, 20, 16, and 12. So today we're just using Pythagorean's theorem to figure out what the missing side is. Again, circle. We have the center of the circle, and this time we've got a tangent line up here. They tell us that this distance here, that passes through the center, and that there, that could be better. There we go. All right, so we need to find out this distance here, x. This side is 9. This side from here to here is 15. And they're telling us that this line over here is already tangent to the circle. It is tangent. And what it means by tangent is that it makes a right angle with the radius. So that is a right angle. So if we just look at this red marking here, that's a triangle. I know two sides. I'm trying to find the third. That's Pythagorean's theorem again. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Most important side is c. C in this case is the 15. A and b don't really matter. I'll go a is x and b is 9. So x squared plus, instead of b is going to be 9, square it, and c is 15. So x squared plus 81 equals 15 squared should be a 225. I need to get x by itself, so we'll subtract that 81 over. So x squared equals 225 minus 81 comes out to 144. And the square root of 144 is 12. And let's see, we put that back onto the triangle over here. Yeah, that looks good. It's in the right neighborhood. We got a 9, a 12, and a 15. All right, one last one, and this one's going to give us decimals, but it really doesn't change up the problem too much. It just makes our plugging into the calculator a little bit harder. So again, circle. There we go. We have the center of the circle. Right there is the diameter. This line over here is tangent to the circle, and that'll give us, I'll just cover that up right there. Okay? So they give us, oh, actually that one's x that we're trying to find. Down here is 8.1, and from here to here is a 13.5. Again, they already tell us that this is going to be tangent to the circle, so it is a right angle here. Having two sides, trying to find the third, that means we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. C, always the most important side. C is going to be your hypotenuse, in this case 13.5. A and B don't really matter. I'll go A here, B here. So instead of A, we're going 8.1 squared plus B, that's the x that I'm trying to find, equals C, 13.5 squared. And you'll notice I use parentheses on this just because of that decimal stuff there. So 8.1 squared, let's see, 8.1 squared is 65.61 plus x squared equals 13.5 squared is 182.25. I like using all the decimals now, and then eventually we can reduce it down or simplify it later, round it, minus 65.61 on both sides of the equal sign. So we get x squared equals, we subtract those, we get 116.64. Now that number is not our answer yet, we still need to square root it. So those cancel out. So in the end, x equals 10.8. And let's take a look at that. Does that make sense on the triangle there? I'd say yeah, it does. It's in the right neighborhood. We have an 8.1, a 10.8, and the biggest side is a 13.5. So no matter whether it's this lesson or the lesson before, we're using Pythagorean's theorem. Sometimes they give us all three sides, and we need to find out if that line is tangent. Today, they gave us two sides, told us the line was tangent, and we had to find the missing side.